Okay, so our last and not least part will be GitHub and Perforce, or as I like to say, version control. Now, version control is incredibly important to your project. It's one of those things because there's this thing called Murphy's Law, and it's not a factor of if something will happen, but when. And you really want to have some tools in place that can help you weather such a storm like that. Now, personally, I'm of the opinion that if you're going to do it in a professional type of setting or format, Perforce is the way to go with that. It's the thing, though. However, in my experience with Perforce as well, has been one of getting that system to install. Holy cow! What an absolute uh, challenge it was for me. But then again, I'm also more of a 3D guy, not a programmer side. And even some programmers found it challenging, but at least was able to understand it to a point to be able to get some of it working. Now, I would say Perforce over, say, something like GitHub, and GitHub is also pretty awesome. We use both, so we use a combination of GitHub uh, Bridge to allow us to share files with outsourced or workers that are outside of the company walls. It's been pretty good with that in terms of a service that helps us to save and transfer files from one to the other. However, the problem or challenge with GitHub is that it's not backwards set, meaning that God forbid something were to go bad or mess up in it, we would have to upload the whole thing again. There is no version control where you can go back a version or two where it was working and then have that be the upload and overload version and just start back up again. That is the benefit of something like, say, Perforce. Perforce gives you literal version control. So if I check in a file on one day and then bring that said file out the next when check that out, I mean, and check that file out the next day, any updates that I will do to that file when I check it back in will be there, but there will also be a previous file that does not have those updates from the first time I saved it. So you'll have these increments of version control that you can go back to where you, because ultimately there will be times when you'll have a crash or something will happen and you'll have to come in there and alleviate the problem. And sometimes it's just best to just go back a version or two to to make that work. Now, that is a benefit of, say, something like Perforce. Perforce does have a free version or free client version for indie users. I think it believes up to 5 seats for a year. So there's that. For us, the first thing that you really only need is Helix Core. Helix Core is the same thing as Perforce or P4V. They keep changing the name. It has so many different names. It's also one of the situations or problems that they can't make their darn mind up on what they want to name the software. So it has like 3, 4 different names: PV, P4V, Helix, Helix Core. It's like, what the hell is it? So anyway, they all are the same thing. Perforce Helix Core, world's most scalable version control, like they want to call it. So you need to go through the videos or any type of things like that. But in terms of full hardcore version control, it stops at and ends at Perforce Helix. It's um, pretty much worldwide used. I pretty much do not know of a serious company that does not use it in some form or fashion. So I think in any regard, getting a Perforce server or some type of shareware version up is monumental, and I definitely give extra credit on anybody that's able to do that as well. But um, yeah, that's one of the things about having a Perforce Helix core setup is that it can be quite complicated, especially if you're not used to network or IT situations. GitHub, however, is a bit more programmer friendly. I argue in terms of getting set up, but GitHub also does not give you the backwards compatibility, um, backwards soft software safety net, so to speak. It's not really there. So, but it is good or a great situation to have for in terms of having it use it for transfer files. All right, so I'm pretty much don't have anything else on to add to that. If there's anything that actually comes to mind with it, I'll give a supplement and add it over. So give me a little bit, and I will upload these so that you can start to take and digest these as they go. So thank you again for dealing with me and my annoying voice, and I really appreciate you on this one. Now, however, if any of you have questions or need to get in contact with me, remember, um, going to Walt C at oveffects.com. That's Walt C at oveffects.com. That is the fastest way I'd imagine to get me, because I always have that one in front of me. I do, and I'm getting better at checking my announcement feedback from that you get in the Canvas as well. So getting a little bit better at that as well, and we'll continue with that. So anyway, like I said, I will not be in next week because I will be in Seattle. However, I will be posting and giving updates on the things that I do see and can share at the Unreal Fest on the Executive Summit as well. So you folks have a good one. If you have any questions, obviously, please get in touch with me, and I'll talk to you soon.